Hello my fellow hunters and welcome to my I hope this is the last build video for the title update 2, the all-rounder switch X build video, yes. And before this video I have done all the morph for the status weapon, like status weapons that deal additional damage, like poison weapons which deal about additional 20 or 30 DPS depending on the status trigger, and also additional damage from the blast weapons, which are also included today in the build, which is very different depending on whether you use the tier rampage decoration or other stuff, which also highly depends on the monster, but still creates a decent amount of damage. And yes, if you go to the smithy, and you can't really say there is a general raw build, because the funny thing is, let's go to to upgrade forged weapon, go to switch X, and then you can see here in the weapon list that for the weapons everywhere there is an element, so there's only a few exceptions. But that is only for the rarity 8 weapons. If you go to the weapon trees, always to the final weapon, you can see here element, here is nothing. Okay, but this has a dragon fire, so it's still an element. So there is no switch X which doesn't have element. This has a poison fire, for example, paralysis fire. So you can't really say there is a best raw switch X, because Capcom completely removed this raw switch axis with one exception. So there is still here a tree. I didn't unlock this tree, I didn't know what the weapons are, so maybe I have to do some side quests. And if we go to the top, there's still one weapon. It is this one, the Kamura switch X. It's the only switch X of all which is pure raw. So the thing is, this switch X isn't competitive because the other two switch X which I'm showing you is the Kemi X and the Scorned Magnamalo X, and they both have additional damage from the pause and the blast and the poison, and they can't really compete with
I'll be here when you need me.
with the other ones, and I also explain you why. So first of all, I'm showing you the Scorned Magnamalo switch X. So first of all, I have to mention the two builds I'm showing you does nearly the same damage. The only difference is that I'm showing you the Kemi Swags build and the Scorned Magnamalo switch X build, both sets using a build-up boost, which additionally boosts your damage when you apply status. So that is also another thing why they are so much better than the Kamura X, because we have that additional benefit from the build-up boost. And before I show you the builds, please check out my Google Doc, and here you can compare all the switch X's together. Yes, I've stepped in from my title update 2 calculation list. Here you can see all the calculation. Yes, the comparisons, and you can see which are the best X's and which not. So in general, the best damage does the fire elemental switch X, because you have that additional bonus from the Silver Rathalos chest, which gives you additional 3 levels of fire attacks, and they also have the highest element and are absolute crazy. And for example, also the Cactus switch X, which deals additional poison damage for lower fire hits and radius. So yes, elemental fire axes are the strongest. I have set a reference. The reference is the Reconqueror's KO damage build, which does, you can see here, about 1680 for mixed playstyle, which is the reference. So you can see, yes, elemental switch elemental fire does about, when it's fire, about 27.5% more than a general KO switch X build. The elemental files are a little bit stronger than the power files, but the reason is I have used 2 levels of power prolonger on the elemental files and 3 levels of power prolonger on the power files. So this is the reason why elemental files does a little bit more. But I instead use the additional crit boost deco instead of the additional power prolonger, and on both axes I'm using power prolonger level 2. They does exactly the same damage, okay? So they are very well balanced. Also here a poison build, which is absolutely focused for, this is a chemi build I've done previously, but on the chemi build I've done previously for status, which is also here shown. You can check here all the other stuff, so you can easily, for example, yes, go to status builds, and then you have here the chemi build, which also uses poison attack level 3 and maxed out fury with maxed out status trigger. So this is more built around status, optimal status damage, and also used the maximum amount of attack augmentation, and only use anti-aerial species, which does more DPS than a file switch boost deco. But yes, file switch boost is more comfy. So that is why the file switch boost X are a little bit more mid-tier, because they made for general purpose hunting and for more comfy reasons. Yes, so if you absolute go for poison status, it does about 11% more than the KO switch X. Yes, then the two builds I'm showing you today is scorned and chemi build. So you can see there is only 1% difference in the damage output. So it depends on how weak is the monster against blast or poison. If you, for example, fighting Tobi Kadachi, PBSB chemi is stronger, or if you fight against Kushal Daora, I recommend to use this build, the absolute maximum blast damage build. But if you only want to compare these two weapons, the Scorned Magnamalo build is better. Yes, KO build was the reference, and blast is a little bit behind the average, because yes, that was just a fun build, which I showed here. And yes, on this build I just used on every shit maximum blast damage. I augmented for curio crafting regardless of how much raw you gain. Maximum blast attack, maximum coalescence, yes, also bloodlust trigger for more coalescence trigger, maximum build up, Theo, Deco, elemental Fayal, you gain 45% additional damage for blast. Yes, that is more like a how many blast explosion I can get build, okay? So about I have to say, it is really fun to play. A little bit less damage than the average, but it is absolutely nuts and very, very fun to play this build, okay? So this is the comparison. You can see here about these two builds are about 8% stronger than average KO switch X, but the elemental builds still does about 14 or up to 20% more damage depending on the element which is on the weapon. Yes, so that is a general conclusion I have to say. Is there anything more about to mention before I tell about anything? I just read what I've written here. All elemental and status builds was focused for maximum DPS potential. Therefore, the use of anti-element Bane and Theostra deckers depends on the build. I augmented to squeeze in a file switch boost deco for maximum cheese. So don't be confused when the chemi poison build does more damage, which I currently explained. These builds are built for all purpose. So I don't know what purpose is correctly punctuated in the English, UK country or what else. If you just want to join random hunts without having a search in your item box, best of your 100 switch X builds, this is the way to go. Yes, and I also used on both sets Bloodlust Coalescence. So I know maybe not every one of you like this, but this is definitely the way to have to go when you're using the switch axis, because I didn't have used blast decos or venom decos on this build. I just go for highest raw and crit possible. And that is why I've used also Bloodlust for the 20% additional affinity. And the next thing is, if you have Bloodlust, you all the time have Coalescence triggered. And Coalescence give you additional build up. For example, on these two builds, I've used 2 levels of Coalescence, which gives you additional build up of 10%, which I can also show you here. On this build, we have Coalescence level 2, which increases your status build up for 10%. So if you're using a weapon with a status, you absolutely have to use Bloodlust with Coalescence. And yes, the benefit of this is we didn't have a handicap of the Teostra build or other skill exclusive armor ports. So this is the great benefit and giving us more versatility. Like I explained, the Scorned build does about 1.17% DPS more if both monsters have the same star weakness against the specific status. So yes, 1.17 DPS in percent is about a 3 level 2 deco, which is with a DPS skill, like Resentment or Agitator or anything else. Yes. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the build comparison. Yes. So you can see here for the Scorned Magna Malus Witch-Axe, I also tested the scroll handicap of Mail of Hellfire, but the bad thing is you all the time have to use the same scroll, which is the red scroll, and you didn't have to swap the scroll. So the thing is you're losing about 0.08% DPS, and I instead go for more comfy using instead of this combination with Bloodlust Coalescence Mail of Hellfire. Instead I used Mail of Hellfire, I therefore used Build Up Boost 1. So you're dealing about nearly the same damage, and in this line you can see the damage output, the skill levels I've used, maxed out attack boost, and I'm gonna show this here in this specific sheet. Yes, PSP all-rounder. So we're going for fire switch boost, so for curio crafting augments to one-time attack, and the rest is the rampage slot upgrade. You can see here using Mail of Hellfire instead of Build Up Boost 1 and ignoring the switch scroll handicap increases the DPS of 0.76%, but for comfy reason I used Build Up Boost over Mail of Hellfire. So this is the Vengeful Felcleave, which you get from Scorned Magna Malo. This switch axe is stronger than the other one. For poison it isn't competitive, Chemi is by far the best poison axe. But for loss it's a little bit tricky. You can see here the best combination for Basil Hot is Bloodlust Coalescence with Build Up Boost 1. We get about 1783. So if we open a calculator and divide that damage from our Vengeful Felcleave, which is 1821, into 1783, which we got from our Basil variant, you can see here we're dealing about 2.1% more DPS on the Vengeful Felcleave. Okay, so this switch axe is stronger than the Basil subvariant switch axe, and yes, you can see also the armor ports. On both sets we are only using 6 different armor ports. On both sets we have the Sorash Helm, Flaming Chest with Ryzen gloves. Yes, for the Scorned SA the Sailor's Skirt, and for the Sariella's Phantasen the Astalos Coil. For the legs, Flaming Espina Seal, which I sniped for to get that interpreted hurt level 1. So this skill is sniped for, please keep that in mind. Yes. The only difference between the both sets is on Scorned Magna Malo SA we have maxed out attack boost, and on the Sariella's Phantasen, which is the Chemi X, we only have level 4 attack boost, but instead on the Chemi X we have also Fury, which works a little bit better on this X because we have a 70% uptime with the poisoned monster, which you can't use on the Vengeful Felcleave, because yes, you just do the plus procs and there is no overtime status trigger, and that is why Foray is only good if the monster is for the poison status. Yes. Also on both axes, Protective Polish maxed out with Rapid Move maxed out, Power Prolonger maxed out, Wax maxed out. Like I explained, it's a Bloodlust Coalescence combination with Burst some levels, Critical Boost level 1, also Build Up Boost, which gives us about 3 additional % of raw, which is very good. It's not as good as like an anti-deco, but similar kind of that. Yes, and also weight extender and Wirebug Whisperer, which are very, very good comfy skills. And yes, okay, this is just about the comparison. I also now gonna show you the set skills on the Scorned Magna Malo X with a fire switch boost deco, maxed out attack boost. Like I explained, all these skills are maxed out. Burst was level 2 with a weight extender. We didn't have to max out Chemi Blessing like on the other build, that's why we're using different armor pods. Yes, Fury is just because it's already on the armor, and build up boost 1, so if we apply status we deal more damage. I also show you the armor pods we need from the smithy. So we go to Forge Upgrade Armor, Forge Armor, and there you can see the armor pods we are using. On both sets we are using Storage Helmet, which gives us 1 level of Bloodlust and 2 levels of Coalescence. On both sets we are using Flaming Aspina's Brawn, which gives us 2 levels of attack boost and very good slots. For the gloves we are using Ryzen Chemi for the insane slots and also build up boost. For the belt it's kinda different. The belt on our current set is the Sailor Skirt, which gives us maxed out Protective Polish and also Wirework Restorer 1. And for the legs we are also using Flaming Aspina's Boots, which gives us Interpreted Hurt, some attack boost and some good slots. Yes. For the weapon augments, like I explained, it is one-time attack and the rest is ramp up skills. So at the end we have the attack of 404 and 27 blast. So I also now show you the decorations you have to use. So another thing that I have to mention, if you go to switch skills and you really want to make benefit of build up boost or create much possible poison up time or maximum blast procs, you have to use wire step for the 4th switch skill, which is absolutely necessary for that status blast style, but there's a general hunting build, so you can also use switch charger and elemental burst counter, and the rest is forward overhead slash with finishing discharge, 2 SMS and soaring weapon dive bomb. Okay, now to the decorations. On our Scorned X, 2 attack jewels and the switcher jewel for the rampage slots. On the helmet, critical jewel 2, on the chest 2 attack jewels 2, on the arms a big ass enhancer jewel with 1 enhancer jewel and the cornerstone jewel. We didn't need an enhancer jewels on the other set, I also show you later because of the Astalos belt. On our Sailor Skirt a tenderizer jewel 2, on our legs a big ass quick switch jewel with a cornerstone jewel 1. So on all sets I'm also using Defiance 3, which is infinite HG earplugs if the monster is enraged. And on our talisman 2 tenderizer and 1 cornerstone jewel. For the charm I have used Rapid Morph 1, Evade Extender 1 charm with 3 2 level 2 slots and a level 1 slot. So I think this charm maybe isn't the easiest to get, but I think it's very mid tier because it is rarity 6. So I think it isn't too rare. It also didn't have any crit boost, attack boost or weakness exploit. So all skills are just B tier skills, which are very very common. So I think this charm shouldn't be too hard to get. Now to the next build which I'm showing you. This is the PSP Chemi build. So please tell me in the comments down below if you prefer the Chemi PSP build or the Scorned SA PSP build. In my personal opinion, I prefer the Chemi build because this Switch X looks a bit cooler. I know we have the labeled armor now, but I just like the Chemi X. Yes, okay. I now show you the different armor sets, so we have similar skills. The only difference is we have Chemi Blessing 3, which gives us nearly infinite poison uptime. I can't squeeze in any poison decos, but instead we are using Coalescence level 2, which increases our status build-up by 10%. That means 10% more status build-up, like I explained, yes. And also a different thing on this set is we have Chemi Blessing level 3 and Foray level 2 for 10 more attack and 10% more affinity. I calculated for a 70% uptime, so it's about 7 more attack and 7% more affinity. So the Switch X has some nice affinity, I think. The poison is triggered. And yes, the only difference is we are also using the same charm, like you can see here. 1 level of Rapid Morph with 1 level of Radar Extender, 2 level 2 slots. We're using Astalos Coil. I show you now what that armor pod is so good. I never used that armor pod before, but the set surgery recommended me this armor pod. It gives us 3 levels of Power Prolonger and 2 levels of Speed Sharpening. And for the decos we gain a 2 level 1 slot deco. So
Bye
this
now.
cool thing on the set is we also have some speed sharpening on this set. And that's also another thing why I prefer Chemi build. Go to Degos. On the Chemi X, Wirebug Tool 2 with 1 haste tool level 1. We need a Wirebug tool because on the Sailor skirt we had Wirebug level 1, so we need one on the X. For the helmet, critical tool 2. For the flaming chest, attack and tenderizer tool. For the Ryzen gloves, a big ass sharp tool with a general sharp tool and a cornerstone tool. On the Asala's coil, a foray and a haste tool. So foray isn't really that good, it's more like a meme skill. So instead of foray, you can also use critical boost or attack boost. If you can get up to attack boost 6, because attack boost 5 is useless. So instead of that foray tool, you can also use critical boost, which has a lot more DPS. And if you swap that out, it is same strength as Scorned Magnamalo, maybe, if you regardless of the poison uptime. Yes, on the legs, a big ass quick switch tool with 1 cornerstone tool. On the charm, 2 tenderizer tools with 1 cornerstone tool. Yes, this is the Chemi X build. Please tell me in the comments down below which you like more. Like I explained, you do about 4.8% or 4.5% less DPS, or even you do more. You do about 7% less DPS, because the first thing is you didn't have anti-deco, and the next thing is instead of the anti-deco, the PSP doesn't do really additional damage, and instead you also didn't have the additional 4 augments, so you also lose 10 raw. You lose 10 raw and 5% from the anti-deco additional damage. Yeah, so in general at the end it's a little bit weaker than with anti-deco, but it's for general hunting. Very highly recommend it. Please make sure to check out my Google document, and here you can see also the additional damage from the status. So in our PSP all-rounder build, we get for average combo, regardless whether it's aerial or grounded, about 44 blast attack, which means you have to do about 5 combos to get a blast proc, which is a lot. The funny thing is, if you have, for example, the Teostra's Hellebarde, you do, for example, if you go for aerial switch X, more than 1 blast proc, so minimum 1 blast proc per CSD. And for the Vengol Felcleave, you need about 5 full combos to get 1 blast proc, so that is a very big difference. But you can see here, the most benefit is the raw damage and not the blast or status damage. For the Chemi swags, you can see here the status damage is higher. It is during a CSD 140 poison damage. For the grounded combi 90 poison damage, and for the mixed 115 poison damage. If you have about 2 out of 3 uptime, 70% uptime when the monster is poisoned. Okay? Yes. So that's with the build. I hope you're gonna have some fun with this builds. And thanks for watching. I hope this is the last video of Title Update 2. I'm not sure whether I can do all this work again for Title Update 3, because all these builds and all the work for this spreadsheet took me, I didn't know, 60, 70 hours or even more, or 80 hours. So I'm not sure I do all this stuff again for the next Title Update, because it costs me insane amount of time. And just I hope enjoy it. Thanks for watching, see you next time.